Peace. What's going on, family? How y'all
Peace.
feeling?
Come on.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
Good
Good to
morning.
see you. Good to see you. My man, Mr. J, froze over there. What? He look like he might be froze a little bit.
Yeah, he's in New Jersey, so he may be.
Okay, okay. How you doing? How you been?
I'm here. I'm making it.
Okay, okay, okay. You knocked nobody out recently, have you?
No, no, not yet.
Okay, good. I like you saying not yet, just in case, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So for folks who are not familiar um with you, if you don't mind giving them a brief introduction of who you are and why you here today. You know what I'm saying? We've been knowing you for quite a while. We know you've been consistent. So let the folks know who you are and what brought about this relationship here.
I'm Jacqueline Johnson. I'm the mother of Kendrick Johnson. My 17-year-old son was killed at his high school in Valdosta, Georgia. He was rolled up in the gym mad. Um, they still they said it was positional asphyxiation, but we had our own pathologist do another autopsy and found out it was trauma to his neck. So we've been fighting for January the 10th to make 10 years
Oh my God.
fighting to get some justice or accountability held for my son.
Right on, right on. So I mean, again, I've been probably knowing you all for either 8 or 9 of those 10 years, I believe. And it's been, you've been up and down these streets, up and all throughout the country, you know, uh, seeking justice, and I mean, what has been the outcome so far? Has there been any type of glimmer of hope, or what's been going on? What did the state say? What is their position right now?
The state is sticking to their story that he fell into a mat trying to retrieve a tennis shoe. There's always hope because there's one thing about it. There's no statute of limitations on murder. And we all know that Kendrick was murdered. And one day it's no such thing. To me, there's no such thing as justice. It'll be accountability because justice means my child being here with me. So as we proceed to fight, um, we're just looking for somebody to be held accountable.
Right on, right on.
Miss Johnson, what's the status of the case? Is it still open, or has the state of Georgia closed it? And what was the determination that they gave? I guess what is the case's current status?
But the case is closed at this point. And they said it was where the sheriff said it was to him just a weird accident. They went
I,
from a freak accident to a weird accident. So
I mean, first of all, my deepest condolences still goes out to you, because to hear that this has been 10 years. In Kendrick's case, unfortunately continues to stand out because of the ridiculousness of what the police and investigators said. And like you said, that it was a freak accident. Well, who rolled him up in the gym mat? Who? There's so many unanswered questions. Have the police been able or even willing to try to provide some of those answers?
no, let them tell it. He had to roll himself up into the mat because he was so dumb. He climbed on the mat and fell in there, wiggled inside of a mat where it was 14 centimeters and his shoulders were 17 to 19 centimeters wide. So there's no way that he could have climbed in the mat. So he had to roll himself up into the mat and cut his fingernails while he was in the mat dying. So it just don't make no sense. And then for the lady that's supposed to done the autopsy, she said in her statement, she went off theory of what they said. You got a whole body in front of you, but you go off a theory of what Lowndes County Sheriff Department said. You're not doing your job.
Miss Johnson, I want to because again, I'm familiar with the case, and I know I hate to even ask about it because of the fact that I know it has to be frustrating, and it has to be, it's like, okay, knowing that you've done so many interviews, knowing that there's documentaries and there's been protests and marches and absolute disrespect by Valdosta County and the state of Georgia. And when I say disrespect, I'm talking about literally, not just what you're talking about right here. For folks who are unfamiliar please walk us back. He went to school one day, and he never returned home, and the next day. I mean, how did it come about, if you don't mind, just for folks, because we have new viewers who are unfamiliar with the case.
Kenneth said he got kicked out some kind of way, but my son went to school that Thursday and never returned that Friday. They didn't find him. He was at school. Y'all, it's just repeating it sometime. But they found him the next day, rolled up in the gym mat at his high school, where there's 3,000 people, 3,000 students, plus faculty, staff, everybody. Nobody seen anything. Found him rolled up in the gym mat. They said it was positional asphyxiation. He had no bruises, but we all know that's a lie. He had no bruises, no nothing on him. So they just was saying that from day one, it was an accident.
Right.
Without the autopsy even coming back. Sheriff Chris Prine came on there and said it was an accident.
Right. And that was, like you said, he stated that before the autopsy. The sheriff stated this before any medical personnel. That's the wild thing about it. Now, in regards to the camera, because we know they had cameras, what did the camera show?
The cameras only showed Kendrick walking into the gym, and it showed him. They supposedly have torn up until they got him, show him going out on the gurney.
Right. So the cameras just mysteriously stopped working once he went inside. So the whole time that he fell into this wrestling mat, this wrestling mat with that is mathematically impossible for him to fall into, upside down, to retrieve a shoe that fell inside the wrestling mat, or that they claim that he hid under the wrestling mat, which sounds so damn ridiculous that I mean, it's just so unbelievable. Then you go to check out the cameras, and the cameras it mysteriously stopped working, until they're taking them out on the gurney.
Ms. Johnson, I mean, obviously, a lot of this is a cover up. Like, there's no question about this, because it sounds as though lots of evidence, potential evidence, was manipulated, was tampered with. You said the cameras mysteriously stopped working. You said your son's fingernails were cut, which we know a lot of that is a way for potential DNA or forensic evidence to be collected. When somebody is being attacked, sometimes they will get the DNA of their attacker underneath their fingernails. And you say your son's fingernails were cut. Obviously, this looks and smells very much like a cover up. And I guess, without mentioning names, who do you think might have had a motive to do your son harm? Or do you think that somebody is obviously being protected for murdering Kendrick?
I feel like some bodies are being protected because of who they are, because they know exactly what happened to Kendrick. They saw it on that camera, so they know who did it. They know who all was involved. They just don't want to do nothing because who the perpetrators are.
Right. Now, I know that you might not be at liberty of saying it, but if you don't mind me, I will. Because it's been alleged that a couple of the suspects are children of an FBI agent, right? And they've gone as far as to sue the Johnson family for their statements. So to my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Johnson family now, quote unquote, owes over $250,000 as victims. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this is the love and the disrespect that's been shown to this family. So not only have you lost your child, these bastards decide that they're going to sue you. And in that particular county where she is, you have to understand, we're in Atlanta. You all are in Valdosta. That's like what, 5.5 hours, I believe, from Atlanta.
3.5.
3.5. Okay, well,
Mhm.
I drive slow because I know dealing with them white
Yeah.
folks out there is different. But anyway, but yeah, so I mean, this is when you talk about Georgia and you talk about, you know, America and what they cannot do, you send your child to school where you think is safe, just like the elders who went to the supermarket up in Buffalo where they think is
Right.
safe, you know, and they don't make it home. I understand from previous interviews, you know, you all were waiting for him to come home because, you know, he's not the type of child that would just stay out all night and not do what he's supposed to do. And later on, I believe you found out when you got back to the school or something that
Yeah. No,
yeah.
he know I was the type of mama that didn't play him staying out all night. That being that child, he know I was the type of mama I didn't play. It was a school night, you know, to have your butt in the house. And I knew when he didn't come home that something was definitely wrong. So it was just like a waiting game. Like, even though, you know, you can feel it in your heart when something really done happen. And the way went to the school the next morning. I was sitting there 8 o'clock that morning. As soon as I got there, one of the resource officers was like, well, we done been looking for Kendrick. He didn't come to school and he's not in class. So you can go on back home. If anything comes up, we'll find you. Go back home. Yeah, that's just how he was. Going on back home? Like, no. So I went, excuse me, and talked to the guidance counselor. And we was talking about my daughter because she needed to pass one of those tests that even though she had finished school, she had to pass a test that needed to be in order for her to graduate. So me and her was talking, and I asked her, I said, well, did you know that Kendrick was missing? And she was like, no. So she automatically went to calling kids out of class and asking them when they was the last time they seen Kendrick. Some said third block, some said fourth block. So it was just like a waiting game. So I'm sitting in her office and her phone rings, and you know how a telephone can be up so loud, you can hear what the other party's saying. I can hear a man saying that we found the body in the gym. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, I couldn't say nothing. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I was just stuck there. And she would just start at that point nodding her head and But I can still hear she not knowing I can hear the other party on the phone. So I'm just sitting there like, Lord, this really my child. So I'm looking at her. So in a few minutes, a group of ladies came in, and she got up and went out the office, left me sitting there still and say not one word, left me sitting there. And she went out the office and was talking to them, and they all looking in there at me, and I'm just still sitting there like, so you're not gonna say nothing. So in a few minutes, my friend came to get my grandbabies from pick my grandbabies out there because she had found out what was going on. So she came back in there. Well, you want me to take the baby downstairs? I was like, because he don't know you. So I get up walking downstairs. Everybody is walking behind me like, okay, I done heard what this lady said. They don't know I done heard what was said on the phone, but everybody's just like walking behind me in a group. So I go straight directly to the sheriff resource officer. That's a black lady that's out there. And I asked her, I said, was that my son they just found in the gym? So she asked me where my daughter was, and my daughter was walking back up to me at that point. And I asked again, was that my son? And she was like, yes, that was nodded, yes. And that's how I found out that was my son. My son was dead. That's how. Nobody came and told me that this was Kendrick Johnson. I asked myself. I had to ask a resource officer that's at the school with all about 5-10 white women trailing behind me. So at this point, they're in the gym tampering with Kendrick's body now at this point. Because you got some some tweets on Twitter at 7 o'clock, they found the body in the gym. Some at 9 o'clock, they found the body in the gym. So how at 10 something, the superintendent's daughter, West Taylor, at that time, West Taylor, his two daughters allegedly found Kendrick. Now, they don't even supposed to be on that side of the school. So how did they, both of them, from two different wings, find Kendrick in the gym? The first person that went up and did the interview, she said feet were sticking outside of the mat. But then when it came for the superintendent's daughters to write statements or whatever, they said that they looked down in the mat and seen feet. Like, who gonna, it's so much. One person, you can't see feet sticking up, and then the next people that come that's supposed to find him seeing feet in. I mean, you got to look down in the mat to find the feet. Come on, like it's been lies since Kendrick.
Right.
Day one.
I've I've been hearing the story for years. I've seen the pictures. We've been on protests with you all. We've been on press conferences and all that type stuff. And every single time I hear this, it hurts my soul because, for all types of reasons. First of all, just getting to know y'all good people. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? Y'all real people. It's not a made up joint. You're not looking to be famous because of your child or nothing like that. You want those responsible to be held. You all had to exhume him. You know what I'm saying? To have your own autopsy. That was pain over again, I'm sure. How can, man, first of all, again, as I say always, man, and not that it means anything coming from you, man, but I respect your strength. You know what I'm saying? I respect the fact that you've been able to carry on. And I know that, just from being around, I know you've had people come and go. You know what I'm saying? When the case is popular or something's going on, then everybody's front and center. I got video footage of all types of people, some who were there for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got to name no names, but
yeah,
you had, the Crumpster, everybody. You know what I'm saying? But when they don't see the dollars, it don't make sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? You all have some things going on. This is 10-year commemoration of the murder of Kendrick Johnson, because that's what we're going to call it. It's not, you can't, you're going to tell me that the superintendent's daughters finds this body.
Right.
That don't even sound, that sounds worse than a Hollywood movie.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds ridiculous. If Kendrick Johnson's name was Leor Robenstein, then it wouldn't, justice would have been had already. In fact, it wouldn't even have to be a black student going to that school. They'd have found somebody black ass on the street and made sure that he was at the school. What's going on this weekend, and how can folks support you going forward?
We're this will be Kendrick's 10th, I say, anniversary. We're doing on the 6th, we're doing a sibling grief panel, and we're watching the documentary of Finding Kendrick Johnson to just remind the people of what happened to Kendrick. Don't go to sleep when you some woke up when the documentary came out, but it's like they don't feel back asleep. So we want to wake the people back up. Like, when you start falling asleep, put that documentary in and watch that documentary. It's time to wake up and stay woke.
Tell us the name of that documentary too again.
It's called Finding Kendrick Johnson, and it's on Amazon Prime. It's on Hulu. It's on Video Prime, and it's on Netflix. It was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's still on there.
Right. And
Miss Johnson, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I have first. I can only imagine what this has been like for you for the past 10 years, and on top of not having Kendrick here, what's it been like to remain in the community of Valdosta when clearly there was a collusion to deny you and everyone who loved Kendrick the knowledge about what actually happened to him? I mean, from the school personnel to the sheriffs to the medical examiner, coroner. I mean, this was the system colluding to keep Kendrick's killers protected and to deny you and those who loved him the knowledge about who actually did this to your boy? What's it been like to still live there and to know that there are all these snakes basically that have meant you and your family harm, and that is still working to protect the killers of Kendrick?
First of all, this is a city that protects killers. It always has been. In this city, there's never been a white person convicted of killing a black person. Know that. Never.
Never.
Never. But as for me, it just turned my heart real cold to see how cold-hearted people are and can be. A 17-year-old child that was going to school got killed at that school, and just about every person in this town want to be silent. Silent. I'm talking about the people that supports Kendrick are people from out of town. The people here is just like, it ain't, some of them, it wasn't my child, so I don't care. But you have seen so many that have came behind me that children have got killed. But it's black on black. Of course, they're going to lock them up. But when the perpetrators are allegedly white, you got to fight. And then they allegedly FBI agents' children, you got to fight every police department, the FBI, the GBI, because they go around in a circle, they stick together. The DA, all of them, they stick together. But I'm sticking to fight for justice for Kendrick Johnson because that's my child. And if I don't fight, who gonna fight? If I don't speak up, who gonna speak up? If I don't get up, who gonna get up for Kendrick besides his daddy? Right. So I'm the mother. Like I always tell them, y'all killed the wrong child, but y'all got the right mother because you don't scare me, for one. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to keep on letting y'all know it's accountability for Kendrick Johnson. Not even justice, accountability. Yeah. People take the money and run. I want somebody prosecuted for killing Kendrick Johnson. My child was going to school where it should have been one of the safest places. And he ended up dead at the school. And you mean to tell me nobody don't see, nobody don't care? They kept playing football. They kept running the school. The day while I was out there, they did not never lock that school down. Kids were trampling over me while they had put me in a wheelchair, changing classes. They didn't care then and they don't care now. But his mama still care.
And they protested you all.
Always care.
Yeah. And they protested you all. They tried to demonize your family and to make you all look like something was wrong with you because you fighting for your child. You all got to understand, because I think when folks think of Georgia, they think of Atlanta, and it's this facade that it's the black Mecca and that black folks in Georgia that it's all good, but that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Part of my English, but that's exactly what it is. I mean, right. Valdosta is known for onions, right? The Valdosta onion. That's supposed to be the onion capital over there. But your tears, that ain't what make your eyes water out that moment. You know what I'm saying? And then this right here is a I love seeing y'all, but like I said, every time it's a heartbreaking thing. We were trying to get Mr. Johnson on. I see for some reason, I don't know if it's where he's at. His device kept freezing and dropping. So definitely let him know. We weren't trying to slight him. That's my man. And we love y'all. I want to issue a challenge to folks in Atlanta. And I want to say that make tracks to Valdosta this weekend. I want to challenge some of our listeners to sponsor some vans or some buses so that we can go out there in droves. We need to go out and support this family. It's been 10 years, and there's been no justice. There's been no reciprocity. All it's been is disrespect and disregard. So we definitely appreciate you coming on. Again, I hate to ask you certain questions, but I want our people to know. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate, whenever I do call on you all or whenever I see you, it's the same thing. It ain't no, because I deal with a whole lot of people and some folks, like I said, when that money changed things.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know too, and I'm just keeping it 100. And I'm sorry, you know, because some of these folks probably listening, but I don't really care. It's like you cannot replace your child or your loved one with a check.
No.
That's not going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? Folks like Ben Crump should be ashamed of themselves because of the fact that they'll stand with you when it sounds good. You know what I'm saying? When the media is there, but when the lights, camera, action is gone, ain't nothing happening. I'm glad that you all were able to get the documentary produced because of the fact that helped to you know, to put you a little bit you know, put it out there a little bit more. We will attempt to do some type of showing. Maybe we can get with the producers or whatever, and you know, at a later date, maybe do some type of showing to benefit what you all have. And you know, anything else you want to say before you leave us today?
I was finished telling about the events. On the 7th, we'll be doing a marching rally that morning, and on that evening, we'll be doing his gala at 6 p.m. And on the 8th, we'll be having brunch because a lot of the families will be going back home. The 9th, we'll be doing Internet Day. We'll be talking about Kendrick, posting about Kendrick all day long. And the 10th, that's that Tuesday. That's his actual day he got killed. And we'll be celebrating him all day long. And we'll be doing a balloon release at 4 p.m.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, keep me posted, Ivor. We can support you over here at BPM. You know, we got you. And, you know, love to you, Mr. Johnson, and the whole family. And, you know, I see y'all this weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right. Love y'all. Be safe. Talk to you soon.
All
right. Checking out the Remix Morning Show. That was the Johnson family, the mother and father of Kendrick Johnson. Mr. Johnson was having some difficulties coming on. This is Kendrick Johnson right here. This is the 17-year-old who went to school to quote unquote just get an education, as they say. They say, you know, all you got to do is just, you know, go to school and you can, you know, pull your pants up and you could be somebody. But we see that that's not always the case. So check out the documentary Finding Kendrick Johnson. And for those who are in Atlanta that's up for the challenge, hit us up and let us know when you you know, what you want to do to sponsor a van or a bus or something, because part of what we're doing here at Black Power Media, we're not going to do all the work for us. This is a collective effort. So we need all hands on deck. We need everyone to get behind situations like this. But anyway,
where can we send support if we want to sponsor a bus or a van?
I would say for now, since we don't have anything set up, I would say send it to our Cash App, which is I believe it's $ Black Power Media. I think the ear doctor can double check on that before we get off, and just earmark it Kendrick Johnson van, or earmark van. And you know, if we can make that happen, then we'll make it happen. So but yeah, Black Power Media, and you know, if you can put van in the line or whatever, you know, we'll make sure that you know, if we're able to make that happen, we'll make it happen. If not, whatever will go towards the family. We appreciate you all checking us out. We'll go to this quick break. The Ear Doctor, checking out the Remix Morning Show.
Let's get to it right here, right now. Remix Morning Show on our first break. Let's go.
I can walk on air, I can walk on fire.